The son of Jomo, Uhuru Kenyatta, is now fully committed to make President William Samoei Ruto a one-term president. Listen, towards the 2022 general election, Papa Francis Atwoli repetitively kept shouting at the top of his voice that the son of Jomo was too young to retire from the Kenyan politics. And of course, back then, because the intellectual margin between his and that of Kenyans was too wide to enable meeting of minds, we never understood Atwoli. But with Fred Matiang'i's grand return, Atwoli is today making some sense. Listen, by now you should be alive to the fact that the former president Uhuru Kenyatta was the man behind the formation of the DAP party that is currently being led by one, Eugene Wamalwa, and two, George Natembeya. And again, by now, you ought to know that Fred Matiang'i is, in quotes, Uhuru's dog. And just with that at hand, the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, is already technically in full control of Western under George Natembeya and Kisii under Fred Matiang'i. What if next he tries to consolidate Ukambani under the stewardship of one Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka? Of course, Ukambani will be locked and keyed under his grip. Then, let us take it for example, the former president stretches and seeks support from here at the coast and pushes any candidate using his financial muscle, not purposely for votes, but rather for his image against President William Samoei Ruto. And if, let us just try and imagine that he does the same even from the northeastern region. One thing you need to know is that the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta's presidential aura alone is enough to the campaign and the platform against President William Samoei Ruto. And of course, I know you could be there lying to yourself that but President William Samoei Ruto is likely to win because he currently has the system. Listen, my fellow Kenyan, by now you need to know that the system in place without the son of Jomo is tantamount to a broken system. And that is why President William Samoei Ruto, immediately when he ascended to power, he used to speak with a lot of ignorance that borders confidence and arrogance, going overboard to abusing the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. And in a dint of a fiat from nowhere, imagine, for the very first time in history, Kenyans witnessed the genesis of the Gen Z movement. Now tell me, do you think the movement was completely organic? And if it was, why do you think that President William Samoei Ruto had to quickly look for the powerful men like the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to work with them, because the Gen Z movement was almost toppling him out of power. Long story short is that the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, is technically plotting a sinister revenge against his former deputy, and it may work if you ask me. This is because he has two battles to fight. President William Samoei Ruto, on one hand, has to fight a battle of supremacy against his former boss, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, while on the other hand, he has a battle to fight against the Murima crusader, being Rigathi Gachagua. And both the two Kikuyu leaders are on a revenge mission that is driven by one, anger, two, hatred, and three, revenge. Now question remains, will President William Samoei Ruto survive Uhuru's sinister game plan of making him a one-term president, when likely the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, being a man to whom has times above numbers mastered the art of inculcating the 11th hour strategy, because he's previously been very good at pulling the 11th hour strategy, going ahead of bolting out of any government of the day so that he can realign his interests pro the people. So what if Raila does bolt out of the Kenya Kwanza administration on the 11th hour towards the 2027 general election? Don't you see a string of possibilities that he is likely to leave President William Samoei Ruto in a quagmatic situation, and that is likely to put the last nail on President William Samoei Ruto's coffin? But from where I sit, as of the time of this broadcast, it actually still remains a wait and see situation. But one thing I know, even the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga himself knows pretty well that despite him being one hand in government, he also knows that defending President William Samoei Ruto and his administration is currently as hard as selling pork in Saudi Arabia. So it is just in the interest of time that he is likely to bolt out of President William Samoei Ruto's led administration. But from where I sit, let us just obey the doctrine of Recep Saloketar as we wait to see how the political trajectory is likely to unfold. And as I come to the penultimate part of this episode, that has just been my opinion. If by any chance you do have a contrary opinion to mine, you can as well just feel free to drop them in the comment section, and I'll give them a right of reply. And by any chance, if you've been watching my videos and you've not subscribed, you can as well just consider hitting on the subscribe button. Thank you, and may God bless you.